Ever get out of your car after like even just a short drive and feel just completely drained? Or maybe you've looked in the mirror and thought, wow, one side of my face is looking way older than the other.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Well, today we're diving into something that might explain those things. The hidden link between your daily commute and your long-term health.
Absolutely. And, for this deep dive, we got two really interesting pieces of research to look at. The first one is called Air 6-Free Maze for cars,
Okay.
and it's all about the air quality inside our vehicles, which might be a lot more toxic than we think. And the second one we have is the impact of American car culture on accelerated aging.
Hmm.
This one takes a way bigger view and looks at how much we rely on cars in America and how that could be making us age faster.
Okay, so we all think about pollution, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we usually picture like big factories and traffic jams, not our own cars.
Right.
But these studies are saying our cars could be a big problem, just kind of hidden.
Yeah, for sure.
So today, we want to really get into what these risks are and what you can actually do about them. So this invisible sedative idea from the Air 6-Free Maze paper sounds kind of scary.
Yeah.
But the science behind it is kind of wild.
It is.
So they talk about how the stuff our car interiors are made of, like the plastic on the dashboard, the glue holding things together, the paint, even the leather or the fabric on the seats, all of that is releasing toxic chemicals like all the time. Stuff like formaldehyde, benzene, and all those other VOCs, volatile organic compounds.
Yeah.
And get this, being in the sun makes it even worse. Your car basically becomes a little oven just cooking up these pollutants.
Yeah, like think about your car sitting in the sun, basically off-gassing this cocktail of chemicals. And some of this stuff is linked to headaches, nausea, even long-term problems with your brain. It's not good. And what's really crazy is how these pollutants can mess with our bodies. The research says they really go after our nervous system, and that's what leads to that chronic hypnotic state.
Like when you're driving and you get super drowsy or your head feels foggy for seemingly no reason.
Yeah.
It might not just be that you're tired. It could be those chemicals messing with you.
Right. Exactly. And, the paper brings up something we all take for granted, car air conditioning.
Oh, yeah.
You'd think it would be good, right? Getting fresh air in there.
Yeah.
But a lot of us use the recirculation mode, especially when it's super hot or cold, to get the temperature right quickly.
Right.
But doing that traps those pollutants inside the car, and then the cold air and the dry air from the AC can make you even more tired, maybe because it messes with how much oxygen your body gets.
That makes sense. And, when we think about the long term, all this builds up, right?
Right. The Air 6-Free paper uses a couple of analogies that really paint the picture. Like, they talk about that air filter in your house or your car. You know how it gets black over time? You might not notice it every day, but eventually it's totally clogged. They say it's kind of like that with our bodies. Body toxin accumulation saturation. Like, we can only handle so many toxins before our organs start to, get overloaded.
Wow.
And then there's the other one, the glass of poison analogy. Pretty intense. It's like, imagine taking a tiny sip of poison every day. You think, oh, it's such a small amount, it can't hurt me.
Right.
But over time, it builds up and it can really do damage. They even talk about the same-day hypnotic effect. When you're on a really long drive and you're breathing in a lot of those chemicals and your body basically wants to shut down, it's like your daily commute could be slowly poisoning you.
Whoa. That is a seriously disturbing thought. So have you ever just kind of brushed off feeling sleepy in the car as, well, I'm just tired?
Yeah.
This research is saying it could be your body actually reacting to all these toxins. And get this, the paper even connects long-term exposure to these low levels of toxins to feeling tired all the time, getting sick more often, and just having a weaker immune system. Things we don't usually blame on the air in our cars.
It's crazy, right? And, they actually go beyond just pollution in general and talk about chemical aerosols.
Okay, what are those exactly?
So these are different from the usual stuff like dust or pollen that just irritates your lungs. These chemical aerosols come from those materials in our cars, like we talked about, the plastics, the adhesives, and they also come from fuel residues, industrial bonding agents, even air fresheners and cleaning products.
Oh, so it's not just like stuff getting into our lungs and making us cough.
No, not at all. The research says that unlike PM 2.5, which is that fine particle pollution, these chemical aerosols are actually toxic. Like, they can directly mess with your brain and your blood flow. Yeah. When you breathe them in, they go into your lungs and then right into your blood. which means less oxygen is getting to your body, and that's why you feel tired and dizzy and can't think straight. The paper makes it clear, falling asleep in your car isn't always just because you need a nap.
Right.
It could be your body saying, hey, get me out of this toxic box.
That's scary. And I guess it makes sense then that people who are already kind of unhealthy or mentally exhausted would be hit harder by this.
Exactly. If your body's already struggling to get rid of toxins or your brain's not getting enough oxygen from stress or lack of sleep, these chemicals are going to really knock you down. The paper even calls it chronic chemical poisoning.
Oh, wow.
It's not just motion sickness. It's like a long-term thing that can cause chronic fatigue syndrome, headaches that won't go away, insomnia, and your immune system just gets weaker and weaker.
So it's not just breathing, right? These chemicals can get into our bodies through our skin, too. That's a big area for absorption.
Right, it's not just what we inhale, it's what our skin is taking in.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky.
It is. And because these aerosols are so tiny, the research shows they can actually sneak through your pores and those little oil glands in your skin. What makes it worse is a lot of the chemicals used in car interiors are lipophilic.
Like a what?
Lipophilic. It means they love fat, so
Yeah.
they can pass through the oily layer of your skin super easily and go straight into your bloodstream.
Oh, okay. So it's like they're designed to get in. And what happens when these things get absorbed through our skin?
Well, the Air 6 free paper lists a bunch of problems. First off, your immune system takes a hit. This means you could get more allergies or your body's just constantly inflamed. Then there's your nervous system. This can cause those headaches and brain fog we keep talking about. And there's even some evidence that these chemicals can mess with your hormones. And of course, let's not forget about your skin. These things can speed up aging big time, causing dryness, making your skin sensitive, and leading to premature wrinkles.
Which is, I guess, a good segue to the second paper, the impact of American car culture on accelerated aging. This one looks at, like, the whole car-centric lifestyle, right?
Yeah, this paper really zeroes in on how much time we Americans spend in our cars. They quote a statistic from the US DOT that's pretty shocking. Over 290 hours a year on average.
That's a lot.
It is. And they argue that all this time inside our cars is a big reason why we age faster.
Okay, so they talk about UV exposure when we're driving. We all know we should wear sunscreen at the beach,
Yeah.
but in the car, it doesn't really cross our minds.
No, not really. But this is important. Most car windows block UVB rays, which cause sunburn, but they let in a lot of UVA rays, and those go deeper into your skin and damage the stuff that keeps it looking young. The paper mentions these studies that showed drivers, especially in countries like the US where we drive on the left, they have more wrinkles and age spots on the left side of their face.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's from that constant UVA exposure over the years. Makes you think, huh?
It does. So it's not just the air inside our cars, but also the sun coming in. And this paper talks about the in-car pollution again, too, right?
They do. They go back to those VOCs and how they cause oxidative stress in our cells, which basically means damage at a microscopic level. This leads to these harmful things called free radicals and makes your body inflamed all the time. And that's what makes us age faster and get all those age-related diseases.
Like heart problems, dementia, and a weaker immune system.
Exactly. And they also connect the invisible sedative effect to aging, which is interesting.
It's all tied together.
It is. The paper's saying that breathing in less oxygen when we use recirculation, plus the higher CO2 levels and all those VOCs, it's not just making us sleepy right now, but over time it messes with our brains, makes us tired all the time, foggy, and could even make dementia worse as we age. And, not getting enough oxygen is bad for your skin, your immune system, and makes it harder for your body to detox.
So this is like a long-term problem. And they even compare how Americans age to people in other countries, right?
All right. Yeah, they talk about WHO data that shows Americans have more signs of aging than people in places like Japan, France, and South Korea. Those countries also use cars less and walk, bike, and take public transportation more, and they tend to live longer too.
Interesting.
The paper basically says that more liver spots and wrinkles in the U.S., plus maybe a shorter lifespan, it all lines up with all that time we spend in our cars.
Right.
Makes you think our car-dependent lifestyle is really aging us.
All of this is pretty intense. But the good news is both of these documents have some ideas about solutions. The Air 6 free paper obviously focuses on their own tech. Air 6-free purification technology. So what is that exactly?
Well, they want to get rid of the invisible sedative effect by cleaning up the air that comes out of your car's vents.
Why?
They claim it can make the air 100% toxin-free. It filters out dust, pollen, that's PM 2.5, bacteria, those nasty VOCs, bad smells, smoke, even tiny bits of heavy metals like lead and mercury. It's way more powerful than your regular cabin air filter.
Wow, so this is a serious air purifier. How does it work?
So they use a multi-stage system. It has HEPA filters and activated carbon filters to trap those bigger particles and get rid of smells and gases. Then it uses electrostatic absorption to catch the really tiny particles. Plus, they designed this special labyrinth airflow structure that makes the air swirl around so it has more time to get cleaned. It's all about making sure only clean air gets into your car.
Pretty clever.
And they have a patent for it too, so they're serious about this.
And are they planning to put this in all cars or something?
Well, they talk about building these systems right into new cars, which would be awesome for air quality standards, but they also mention these portable devices that people can use in their own cars.
So you don't have to buy a whole new car.
Nope. And they even think this tech could be used in public transportation to make the air healthier for everyone.
That's cool. So the accelerated aging paper talks about solutions too, but more about like changing policies and how we live, right?
Right. The Air 6 Free folks are all about tech, but this paper wants to make bigger changes. Like, they think the government should make rules against using recirculation mode in cars, so we always get fresh air. And they want air purifiers, like the one we talked about, to be mandatory in new cars. And all windows should have UV blocking film.
Big changes. Do they suggest anything else?
Yeah, they also want cities to be designed in a way that makes it easier to walk, bike, and take public transit. That would mean people would spend less time in their cars. And they think it's important to teach people about all these risks so they can make better choices about how they get around.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got this specific technology fix and then these bigger ideas about how we live. And even without waiting for the government to do anything, we can start making better choices ourselves now that we know about this stuff.
Exactly. Small changes can make a big difference over time.
All right, so wrapping up our deep dive. The main takeaway is that the air in our cars can be really bad for us. And not just in the short term. It can make us sleepy and foggy, but it can also make us age faster and sicker down the road.
That's right.
And even though driving is such a big part of American life, there are ways to protect ourselves, whether it's new technology or just changing our habits.
And just being aware of these hidden dangers is a huge first step. Once you know, you can start making choices to protect your health.
So I guess my question to you listening is, what can you do differently starting today? Knowing how much time you spend in your car, can you make a small change to protect yourself? Maybe think twice about using recirculation, look into those portable air purifiers, or even bike or walk for short trips. This deep dive has hopefully given you a new perspective on your daily commute and how it affects your health and how you can take control.
Absolutely. Your health is worth it.
That's it for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening.
See you next time.